6 o'clock news starts now on Fox 12 Oregon.
This wonderful angel that touched everyone's lives is gone.
3 lives shattered by a masked gunman.
He was just a great neighbor and, always leaving.
He fired about 10 or 15 rounds out here, and then the gun jammed on him.
A girl fighting for her life in a hospital bed.
It's clear to me that she's a very brave young woman.
The man behind the mask identified.
My friend called me and I came back just when she told me the shooter was your neighbor.
The unthinkable, right here in one of our local malls.
I had about 8 shots go directly over my head, hit the wall behind me.
It's just crazy that something like this could happen in your own home.
The 6 o'clock news starts now. And good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Wayne Garcia.
And I'm Shauna Parsons. Tonight, the tragic reality is settling in. 2 lives lost. A caring hospice nurse who was described as an angel and a youth football coach who was just starting a new business at the mall.
These are just some of the stories that we're hearing after the tragic shooting at the Clackamas Town Center. We're also learning more about the gunman, 22-year-old Jacob Roberts of Southeast Portland. Sheriff deputies say that Roberts parked his car outside Macy's at the Clackamas Town Center, then entered through the food cart and then fired his semi-automatic rifle.
Caught in the gunfire, Cindy Ewell, Steve Forsyth, and 15-year-old Christina Shevchenko, who's still in the hospital. Our Fox 12 news team coverage is covering all angles of the story, from the victims to the survivors and the gunman.
And our team coverage begins with Laura Rios, who is live at Clackamas Town Center. Laura?
Yeah, this is the picture of the shooter, 22-year-old Jacob Roberts. Investigators say he's the person who is responsible for inflicting pain on thousands of people here at Clackamas Town Center yesterday. The mall still remains closed. Eventually, it will reopen and return to normal here, but it's going to be a long time, if ever the people affected by this tragedy will ever be able to feel normal again.
I just heard people screaming and saying, I'm shot, and then people running for their lives.
Sheer panic in Clackamas Town Center as a masked gunman interrupted an afternoon of holiday shopping, firing a semi-automatic rifle through the food court Tuesday.
I had about 8 shots go directly over my head, hit the wall behind me, break some of the tiles that were on the wall. Thank God there were some big pillars in front of the taco time. I was able to get down behind them.
Some raced for the exits. Others hid in the back rooms of stores for hours, too afraid to leave.
We didn't know if they were in our store, if they were coming towards us, or where anything was, because we couldn't see anything.
Investigators have now released a timeline outlining the shooter's path as he made his way through the busy shopping center before taking his own life. Sheriff Craig Roberts says the gunman, Jacob Roberts, parked his car on the south side of the mall, ran through Macy's and into the shopping center, where he opened fire in the upper-level food court, shooting and killing 2 people. Steve Forsyth and Cindy Ewell died here. The sheriff says Roberts then moved east, past the Macy's home store, and went down service stairs to the lower floor toward JCPenney. That's where officers found his body, 22 minutes after the first 911 call. The sheriff says a third victim, Christina Shevchenko, was shot in the food court area. Despite her injuries, she was able to leave the mall. Officers found her outside near REI. In the following hours, officers went from store to store, evacuating terrified shoppers and employees and searching the mall to make sure the danger was eliminated. A memorial is now growing on the north side of the mall, a tribute to the 2 innocent lives lost and the thousands more who survived. While it could have been much worse, Sheriff Roberts says there is no underestimating what happened here.
All of us have to recognize that this was a heartbreaking tragedy by any standard. And many people will be affected by this terrible act of violence every day for the rest of their lives. And we should keep them in our thoughts and prayers.
Investigators think Roberts acted alone using a stolen weapon. They say it doesn't appear he knew any of his victims. Clackamas Town Center will remain closed tomorrow. Reporting live, I'm Laura Rios, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, Fox 12 crews spent all day uncovering much more about the gunman.
On his Facebook page, 22-year-old Jacob Roberts posted photos of himself taking target practice with a pistol, but he revealed no motive for his rampage. KPTV's Jamie Wilson is digging into his life and background. Jamie.
Well, Jacob Roberts went by Jake, and his mother, Tammy Roberts, lives right here in Milwaukee. Now, her friends tell me that she is in too much pain right now, too broken up to come forward and make a statement. But people who knew her son say they never thought he was capable of anything like this.
Tammy wishes to express her shock and grief the events at Clackamas Town Center on Tuesday. She has no understanding or explanation for her son's behavior.
Longtime friend Susie Hayes read a statement on behalf of Jake Roberts' mother today, adding that this news has blindsided everyone.
My son did grow up with Jake, and I can tell you that he is a very good boy, and it is very shocking.
This morning, investigators identified 22-year-old Jacob Tyler Roberts as the shooter after they served a search warrant at his home on Southeast 84th Street in Portland. Roommates or friends at the house are not commenting right now, but neighbor Bobby Bates says she saw Roberts getting into his car around 1:30 yesterday afternoon, 2 hours before the shooting, and she says he was carrying a guitar case.
He didn't wave or anything, just came out and put the guitar case in the car.
When you talked, you just waved and hi and very friendly young people, and I just am shocked.
Neighbors say they've never had problems with Roberts or his roommates, and police won't say what they found in the house. We have learned, though, that Jake Roberts used to be a student at Clackamas Community College, and his Facebook page shows he went to Oregon City and Milwaukee high schools. There is also a banner on it that reads, "Follow your dreams, canceled." And under his likes, it says, "shooting."
It's just so shocking, the whole thing. It's such a tragedy, and all these things are so senseless.
People close to Jake Roberts are still trying to wrap their heads around the shooting and his death, but no one more so than his mom.
She is very sad and wants everyone to know that she's so sorry what Jake did. It's so out of his character.
Now, our newsroom has received several emails suggesting that Jake Roberts may have just gone through a breakup or that possibly his plans to move out of the state fell through, but his family nor police are commenting on any of that or any motive right now. But a family spokesperson tells me that even though she isn't ready to comment tonight, his mother does eventually want to come forward and speak out. Live in Milwaukee tonight, Jamie Wilson, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, like many Americans, she was just Christmas shopping on a regular December day before she was hit and killed by bullets.
Friends and family tell us 54-year-old Cindy Ewell was a kind-hearted hospice nurse for Kaiser Permanente. KPTV's Andrew Padula spoke with those who knew Cindy and continues our team coverage now from the Clackamas Town Center.
Well, Wayne, those who knew Cindy say she was a caring and loving person. Her stepson says she was at the mall here trying to find him a hat that he wanted for Christmas when she was shot by the gunman.
I'm completely sick. It's horrific.
It was news that was difficult to understand. A mother, a wife, and a friend taken too soon.
But Cindy Ewell's family, they never got to say goodbye.
54-year-old Cindy Ewell was doing what just about every American does this time of year, Christmas shopping at the mall, when she was killed by gunman Jacob Roberts.
She was an angel. They say hospice nurses are angels, and she truly was.
Cindy's stepson says she was probably looking for a specific hat he wanted. Now the Ewell family and all their friends are trying to cope.
My big sister is doing okay. My dad's doing okay. And all of our friends are just devastated that this has happened.
Cindy had been a hospice nurse for the last 16 years with Kaiser Permanente. Today, Kaiser issued a statement saying, quote, Cindy was a beloved caregiver for the kind and compassionate support she provided for patients and families at times of impending loss and need. Our hearts are with Cindy's husband and family as they absorb this tragedy and grieve.
Cindy was an amazing hospice nurse. She spent her life helping other people transition to the end of life. And Cindy Ewell's family never got to say goodbye.
Friends tell us Cindy had moved to Portland from California in the early 90s. Kelly Nickerson only worked with Cindy for about 6 months, but she says she made a big impact on her life.
She's my mentor. She taught me how to be a hospice nurse. And I'm going to miss her greatly.
Kaiser said it is making counseling services available to those who knew Cindy and are dealing with this tragedy. Reporting live from Clackamas tonight, Andrew Padula, the 6 o'clock news.
Steve Forsyth was the other innocent victim in that mall shooting.
The 45-year-old leaves behind a wife and 2 children and countless friends, both personally and professionally. KPTV's Ben Singer talked to people touched by his life and joins us now live with those details. Ben.
And Shauna, it seems like we would never get to all the people who could share great stories about this man. We know he was operating a business here at Clackamas Town Center, the latest venture in a dynamic career and life.
He was just a great neighbor, and always waving and saying hi to the kids.
And the grief stretches far beyond the confines of his West Lynn neighborhood. Steve Forsyth worked for years in media sales and in management for local radio stations. His former colleagues are all over the city, including at Fox 12.
I know there's several people here in this building that worked with him, and we collectively got together this morning and just kind of shared a moment.
Steve was no longer working in radio, but his legacy lives on.
He was a mentor to a lot of young people who got into the media business, and he's cultivated some good talent and good people who started out of college their first media jobs that are still work in this industry.
He was the first person to open that door for me.
Felix is now on the air for Z100, but he started in media sales right out of college, and Steve Forsyth hired him.
I was very happy. I mean, this is my dream of always being in, working for a radio station, and having Steve, offer me the job. My emotions and everything were going crazy. Like, I can actually live out my dreams.
Felix says Steve even took his support one step further by helping him get the job he really wanted at another radio station.
And I was in awe that, somebody would do that for me, especially for a competing station. And I asked him why. And then he told me, Felix, there's two types of people in this world. There's dream makers and there's dream breakers. And he said, I'm a dream maker. Go live out your dreams.
Now I want to share with you a comment from the family, a statement that they released. Stephen Matthew Forsyth was a loving husband, a father of 2 children, son, brother, uncle, youth sports coach, and friend to the many people who had the privilege to meet him. Steve was one of the most passionate people with a true entrepreneurial spirit that drove him to start his business, Costumes. He had a great sense of humor and a zest for life. He had vision and a belief in others that brought great joy and value to many lives. He will be sorely missed by all who knew him. And that appears to be the only statement from the family for the time being. They are asking for privacy during this difficult time. Reporting live, Ben Singer, the 6 o'clock news.
Ben, thank you for that. Well, she was on her way home from school and used the mall as a shortcut.
But 15-year-old Christina Shevchenko was shot in the chest while in the food court. Doctors are optimistic the 15-year-old victim will recover. She's at OHSU in serious condition tonight. KPTV's Caitlin Bolda continues our team coverage live now from Clackamas Middle College, where the teen went to school. Caitlin?
Well, students at the school here describe Christina as a smart, young, vibrant student. They spent the day making letters, and they're going to buy flowers and bring them to her family tomorrow. Her family says she had left the school here. She was walking across the street to Clackamas Town Center, something she does every day because she takes the shortcut back home. Only this time, in that split instant, she was shot in the chest. Split decisions made by first responders outside of Clackamas Town Center may have saved 15-year-old Christina Shevchenko's life. Doctors say the teenage victim was rushed to OHSU with large open gunshot wounds to her chest and was suffering from a collapsed right lung.
This was a high-velocity assault weapon. Despite the bullet probably not actually penetrating her chest, it produces a large blast effect.
Christina was rushed into surgery to rule out any other internal injuries, and that's where surgeons found deeper injuries to her lung and to her liver. Doctors say they were able to stabilize her, and she is now awake and talking, a huge milestone considering all that she endured.
Just by definition, what she had to do to get out of that situation, it's clear to me that she's a very brave young woman.
Doctors say Christina is surrounded by her family, who has asked for privacy at this time, but released this statement today. We are deeply grateful for the quick response of the emergency service providers. We very much appreciate the incredible support we've received from friends, family members, and the Portland community. Our daughter, Christina Shevchenko, informed us today that the first person to be thanked is Aliana, her friend and schoolmate at Clackamas Middle College, who immediately called 911 and remained by her side until the emergency service providers arrived. Now, with weapons used like this, her surgeons say that a great deal of destruction can still occur over the next 48 hours within Christina's body. So they're going to keep a close eye out for any sort of infections. They say things are looking good. They are optimistic that she will make a full but slow recovery. Reporting live from Clackamas, Caitlin Bolduck, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, the sheriff's office is still trying to piece together what happened. Thank you, Caitlin. They're asking all witnesses to call the sheriff's department at 503-723-4949.
When those first 911 calls started coming in, deputies were trying, first of all, to figure out how many shooters they were looking for.
Do we have any witness account that would indicate we have more than one shooter? Multiple witnesses are making accounts of a single person. Forwarded the security guy here at Morgan's is saying the same thing. The guy with the hockey mask. Okay, and you're in the back hallway. Went into Macy's, the gun had jammed, and there's a mag laying out here that's fully loaded. And he said it's the last place he saw him go. He fired about 10 or 15 rounds out here, and then the gun jammed on him.
Many people have been asking why there weren't more victims, and as you heard, deputies said that Robert's gun jammed right on him in the middle of the shooting. Well, shoppers and workers took cover throughout the mall, hiding out in the storage rooms of many of the stores there in the mall. Viewer Lorraine Bush sent us this new video that we're seeing now from inside the Build-A-Bear workshop. She says workers gave 4 kids, including this little girl, a bear to hold, and then played word games to help keep them calm. Another couple had a baby boy with them, and Bush says when he got hungry, workers even found some milk for him to drink. In a very tense situation, she says the staff took quick action and helped everyone until they evacuated about 2.5 hours later.
Well, since that shooting yesterday afternoon, Portland police have stepped up their security around shopping centers and movie theaters. Portland police say they will continue these extra patrols through the remainder of the holiday season. KPTV's Julie Grauert visited several of the malls today. She joins us live now with more on what she saw. Julie?
Well, we are live outside of Lloyd Center right now, where there's actually still a lot of foot traffic. I was just in the mall to check it out. I talked to someone at Macy's this morning who said that during their one-day sale this morning, it was packed, which is a very different story than how Macy's looked yesterday at Clackamas Town Center.
I was getting my hair blow dried, and we heard a really loud noise, and it sounded as if the roof was falling through or something metal was clashing and falling over.
Alexis Winterhalter was one of the many people at the mall yesterday. She says the shooter ran right past her best friend who was shopping at the Macy's jewelry counter. To help boost shoppers' confidence and make them feel safer, Portland police say that officers will be doing extra rounds at popular shopping areas and movie theaters. We saw an officer at Pioneer Place and several at Lloyd Center. One of the workers at a store in the mall says the greater police presence is making her feel more comfortable about working. Lloyd Center says that shopper safety is their top priority, and they are actively partnering with police to show that. Meanwhile, witnesses are still talking about the scary moments that shattered the middle of a usually normal Tuesday.
It still is, it hasn't really hit me that this has actually happened here in my home. I've grown up in this area. I've been to this mall hundreds of times. I was just Christmas shopping here this weekend, and it's just crazy that something like this could happen in your own home.
Security at shopping locations in Gresham, Vancouver, and Cedar Mills Crossing hasn't changed. Coming up new at 6:30, I talked to a therapist today, and she gave some advice about how you can help support people who were at the mall or who are dealing with that trauma from the shooting today. Reporting live in Northeast Portland, I'm Julie Grauert, the 6 o'clock news.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Once the shooting started, most shoppers and workers either ran or hid, and it turns out that's exactly what experts say you're supposed to do. After the Colorado Theater tragedy, Homeland Security created a YouTube video called Run, Hide, Fight. It's been shown to groups around the country, including here at Fox 12, as a guide of what to do when someone starts shooting in a public place. Now, a warning that this video might disturb some.
It may feel like just another day at the office. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan.
The 6-minute-long video then goes into 3 specific directions depending on your situation. It says if you can, run, leave your belongings behind, and try to help others escape if possible. Then, when you're safe, call 911. If you can't get out, hide. Lock the door, silence your cell phone, and remember to stay very quiet. And as a last resort, fight. Act with aggression and improvise weapons. Make sure to commit to your actions. When law enforcement arrives, then remain calm and follow instructions. And like so many did yesterday, make sure you keep your hands in the air and visible at all times.
Well, in response to the shooting, Oregon Senator Ginny Burdick is launching a campaign to change gun laws. She's drafted a bill to make it illegal to sell large capacity magazines that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition. In an email, the senator told Fox 12 that even hunters are restricted from certain high volume magazines. She says large game hunters use magazines that hold 5 rounds, while bird hunters can only have 3. Senator Burdick plans to file the bill for the 2013 session.
The 6 o'clock news is just getting started.
And this white mask and body armor, gloves on. He had dark brown hair and death in his eyes.
Still to come, those frantic calls from the survivors inside the mall as the story unfolded on our air.
Plus, were there warning signs before the shooting? The disturbing message found on a social media website the day before the violence.
But first, a day after that shooting, a gun scare at a local school. What a teacher found in the classroom that caused several schools in the area to go into lockdown.
Over the past 18 hours, many people have asked me, why were there so few victims during this incident? And first of all, just to make this really clear, is that with 2 people killed and the third one critically injured, all of us have to recognize that this was a heartbreaking tragedy by any standard.
Well, as we try to come to grips with this senseless act of violence, here's what we've learned so far in the Clackamas Town Center shooting. The gunman has been identified as 22-year-old Jacob Roberts of Southeast Portland.
He used an AR-15 and fired into the food court of the mall, killing Cindy Yule and Steve Forsyth. One teenager, Christina Shevchenko, is seriously hurt and is still in the hospital. That lone shooter then turned the gun on himself.
Police found his body in the Macy's downstairs from the food court. KPTV's Jamie Wilson is digging into Roberts' life and background. Jamie?
Well, Jacob Roberts went by Jake, and his mother, Tammy, lives here in Milwaukee. Now, her friends tell me that she is in so much pain tonight, and she's grieving, so she is not ready to come forward yet. But people who know her son, knew him, say they can't imagine that he was ever capable of something like this. At a news conference this morning, investigators identified 22-year-old Jacob Tyler Roberts as the shooter. By that time, cops had already served a search warrant at his home on Southeast 84th Avenue in Portland. His roommates did not want to comment, but a neighbor tells us that she saw Roberts get into his car around 1:30 yesterday afternoon, and he was carrying a guitar case. Roberts' Facebook page shows that he went to Oregon City and Milwaukee high schools, and he also spent some time at Clackamas Community College. There is also a banner on his page that says "Follow Your Dreams, canceled," and under his interests it says shooting. A close friend of the Roberts family read a statement from his mother for us today. She says everyone has been blindsided.
Tammy wishes to express her shock and grief at the events at Clackamas Town Center on Tuesday. She has no understanding or explanation for her son's behavior. My son did grow up with Jake, and I can tell you that he is a very good boy, and it is very shocking.
Now, Jake Roberts' family isn't making any comments about a possible motive in this case, but the spokeswoman there tells me that his mom does want to make a comment very soon. Live in Milwaukee tonight, Jamie Wilson, the 6 o'clock news.
Police are still investigating the many tips that have come in about posts seen on the internet. Someone may have posted a warning about the shooting on a website that was called 4chan.org. An anonymous person posted, quote, "Tomorrow, watch the news, Clackamas Town Center Mall." Investigators say they're looking into multiple tips as they continue to gather more information, but so far they can't confirm any other threats.
Well, one of the innocent victims killed at the Clackamas Town Center yesterday was Cindy Yule. Cindy was doing what a lot of people do this time of year. She was Christmas shopping at the mall. KPTV's Andrew Padula has more from the Clackamas Town Center. Andrew.
Well, Shauna, people describe Cindy as someone who put others before herself. And her stepson tells us that she was at the mall doing Christmas shopping when she was shot by that gunman. Now, today outside the Yule home, friends stopped by to pay their respects to Cindy's family at a time when the holidays are approaching and people are in a festive mood. News of the Clackamas Town Center shooting was difficult to understand. Now, Cindy's family is left to cope with the loss of their loved one. Her stepson believes Cindy may have been at the mall looking for a specific hat he wanted for Christmas.
Cindy was an amazing hospice nurse. She spent her life helping other people transition to the end of life. And Cindy Yule's family never got to say goodbye as she helps other people say goodbye to their loved ones. Cindy's life was cut short, and we're all going to miss her.
Cindy spent the last 16 years with Kaiser Permanente as a hospice nurse. Today, Kaiser issued a statement saying, quote, Cindy was a beloved caregiver for the kind and compassionate support she provided for patients and families at times of impending loss and need. Kaiser said it is making counseling services available for many workers who knew Cindy and are having trouble dealing with this tragedy. Reporting live from Clackamas tonight, Andrew Padula, the 6 o'clock news.
The other victim who died was Steve Forsyth. The 45-year-old was operating a business in the mall, just the latest venture of a dynamic career. KPTV's Ben Singer joins us live now with details. Ben?
And Wayne, he was described as a man with considerable reach, known for his zest for life and his boundless enthusiasm, being missed by many tonight. His death hit close to home for many in the local media industry, actually, because he worked for years in radio sales and in management. His former colleagues are all over the city now, working in radio and TV, including some in our own Fox 12 family, who collectively took a moment to honor his memory this morning. A local DJ we talked to this afternoon called him a dream maker because he gave him his first job in the biz. And he was known for mentoring many people still working in the area today. We talked to those who worked with him about what they'll remember and how they took the news that their friend is gone.
It's just completely devastating. It's kind of one of those senseless, shameless things that doesn't make any sense, and you try to grasp reason behind it, and of course there isn't any. And really, thoughts and prayers go out to his family and those that care and love for him the most.
Steve had a lot of energy. That guy was just bouncing off the walls, just happy all the time. I mean, he had to be that way because he was a motivator. He was the general sales manager. So he was always smiling. He was always just trying to make jokes and trying to make you a better person.
The family did release a brief statement today, but they are asking for privacy during their time of grief. Reporting live, Ben Singer, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, doctors are optimistic the 15-year-old victim will recover. Roberts shot 15-year-old Christina Shevchenko in the chest. She is at OHSU in serious condition tonight. KPTV's Caitlin Bolduc continues our team coverage live from Clackamas Middle College, where the teen went to school. Caitlin.
Well, her peers spent the day making cards. They're prepared to bring flowers to Christina's family. Her family tells us that she had just left Clackamas Middle College here. She was walking across the street to Clackamas Town Center, something she does every day, her family says, because it's a shortcut to home. Only yesterday, when she was in the middle of the mall, she was shot. And her surgeons say 15-year-old Christina Shevchenko was rushed to OHSU with large open gunshot wounds to her chest and was suffering from a collapsed right lung. They immediately took her into surgery where they found deeper wounds to her lung and her liver. Doctors say they were able to stabilize her, and she is now awake and talking, and that's a huge milestone considering all that she endured.
Just by definition, what she had to do to get out of that situation, it's clear to me that she's a very brave young woman.
Christina's family has asked for privacy at this time, but released this statement today, which reads in part, "We are deeply grateful for the quick response of emergency service providers. We very much appreciate the incredible support we've received from friends, family members, and the Portland community. Our daughter, Christina Shevchenko, informed us today that the first person to be thanked is Aliana, her friend and schoolmate at Clackamas Middle School, who immediately called 911 and remained by her side until emergency service providers arrived." Now, her surgeons say with weapons like this, destruction to her body could continue over the next couple of days, and that's something they will keep a close eye on, especially if she gets any sort of infection. They say they are optimistic that she will make a full recovery. Reporting live from Clackamas, Caitlin Bolduc, the 6 o'clock news.
Well, as the story unfolded yesterday afternoon, we heard from several witnesses over the phone and in person who were inside the mall when the shooting happened.
Many of them say they saw the shooter, who was said to be wearing a mask and carrying an assault rifle.
Was in the food corridor and witnessed a guy in all black pulling out a gun and opened up firing about 8 rounds over the top of my head, hitting the wall behind me, ricocheting. People were running for their lives.
I saw this guy with this huge M16 and this white mask and body armor, gloves on. He had dark brown hair and death in his eyes, and he just ran right past us, and I was just staring at him. He didn't make eye contact with me, and he brushed my boyfriend's shoulder and just kept running.
Yes, I was so scared because I heard
4 shots so loud, and my friend was holding my baby, and she got frozen, and then I just run just to go get my baby. I didn't care about anything, just have her safe.
Someone said, why does he have a mask on? And he was kind of carrying the gun like over his shoulder, like a backpack. And he just started shooting into the air, and we took off running, everyone screaming, he's got a gun.
When I was in the set there, I heard a couple of shots that sounded like shots, and at the time I didn't think too much about it. But then when I heard about 18 more shots, I decided that I was a semi-automatic, and I hit the floor.
I'm driving the train, and as I'm making that turnaround, I suddenly hear a bang. At first, I think it's just something falling down, but then I hear a second bang, a third bang. At that point, I realized what was going on. I got the heck out of the train, opened up the back car, got whoever was out of there, yelled at them, run, get out of here, just started running, making sure everyone telling them, get out of the mall, get out of the mall, get out of the mall.
It's a terrible accident that happened tonight, and that Santa's going to be back at the mall, and he wants people to come back to see Santa, because something like this can't scare us away, because we got to fight it.
The stress of Christmas and, getting things ready just kind of goes on the back burner when you are worried about losing your life or losing your loved one.
Therapists say that during a traumatic experience, the body goes into something called fight or flight mode.
And the reality of what happened yesterday may just be settling in for some people. KPTV's Julie Grauert talked to a therapist about the shooting and what people should do.
The therapist says that those who survived the shooting are likely on an emotional roller coaster right now, but she also said that those who were not at the mall yesterday may also be traumatized by this event. Karen Mint-Howell specializes in counseling people who have been through a traumatic event. She lives near Clackamas Town Center and shops there often. When she heard about the shooting, she called the sheriff's department and offered to help. She also went to the mall this morning to support anyone who needed it. She says the first thing that we need to do as a friend or family member is listen. Talking about the event helps the person process what happened. Mint-Howell says that any emotion that someone is feeling, like being numb, irritable, sad, or socially withdrawn, is normal. She says the shooting is a community event with wide-reaching effects.
It became clear to me that it wasn't just the people who were in the mall who had to interact with the shooter in some way that were going to be traumatized, but it was going to be a majority of those people that were in the mall at the time. And it was going to be their family members when they got home, and their friends.
And for anyone who wants to talk about it, psychological help is available through the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. You can also call the Clackamas County Crisis Line at the number on your screen, 503-655-8585. Mint-Howell did say that everyone will be able to make it through this, but she also said pay attention to how your feelings are affecting your daily life. Reporting from the mobile newsroom, I'm Julie Grauert, the 6 o'clock news.
The sheriff's office is still trying to piece together what happened. They're asking all witnesses to call the sheriff's department at 503-723-4949.
Straight ahead on the 6 o'clock news, a Grinch caught on camera stealing Christmas.
A special package ripped from the front door, the present inside that was meant for kids.
The White House called it a threat to regional security when North Korea went against international warnings and launched a rocket into space. The UN Security Council condemned this morning's launch, saying it violated a ban against rockets that use ballistic missile technology. This is thought to be a major step in North Korea's journey toward making a nuclear missile. Washington might push for sanctions similar to those imposed on Iran over its supposed nuclear program.
A gas line explosion sparked this fireball in West Virginia, in a West Virginia neighborhood. 4 homes were destroyed. No one was killed. Incredible video there. Several people were treated for smoke inhalation. The fire was so hot it melted guardrails and destroyed part of the interstate. Firefighters had to keep back for hours just because of the heat. The NTSB is investigating the cause of the explosion.
Internet software founder John McAfee is now back in the United States. He's been hiding for weeks after authorities in Belize wanted to question him on the murder of his neighbor. McAfee insists that he has nothing to do with it. He went to Guatemala to escape police and ended up being held in immigration detention. This week, a judge rejected his bid for asylum and then expelled him from the country. And today, he arrived in Miami.
A Clackamas homeowner thinks he caught a thief on camera stealing a present that was meant for his son. Tony Ma had a package shipped to his home on Southeast Rose Meadow Drive on Monday. By tracking it online, Tony learned that the package had been delivered at about 1:45 that afternoon. And less than an hour later, surveillance cameras on his house captured this car pulling up, and then a woman got out, headed straight for Tony's front porch. He believes this woman swiped the package, which contained a saxophone for his son.
My kids, he feel pretty upset because he couldn't practice over the Christmas break, and he need that for school.
Tony has filed a report with the sheriff's office. He now plans to make sure a signature is required on all packages delivered to his home in the future.
For many people, today was just Wednesday, but for those with a special connection to 12-12-12, today was cause for celebration.
I've been talking about it since I was 5.
Yeah, that little girl is celebrating her golden birthday at age 12.
Oh.
Yeah, as she said, she's been looking forward to it for most of her life, and for the majority of people, today is a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. But one woman is congratulating a huge milestone. Florence Turpin was born on the same date 100 years ago.
I've asked them to bring no presents. Remember you said no presents?
No, not at my age.
No presents. She didn't want any.
And a little baby in Australia also had a 12-12-12 birthday, except her time of the birth was, you guessed it, 12-12. We also had one of those in Portland today. We'll tell you about later. Another triple date like this won't come around, though, for another 100 years. That will be January 1st of 2101.
Imagine turning 12 on 12-12-12. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I hope we're all here for the next one.
I know. 100.
Yeah.
100.
Right here together.
We'll just be 128 young.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a look.
Nobody really wants to see that.
Yeah, we got showers out there this evening. We will just be 128, right? Yeah, that's right.
Don't make me do math right now, Mark.
Okay. Right now we've got a few scattered showers out there, but generally it's pretty dry. We're seeing things dry out. The sky should start to clear out a bit this evening. 45 degrees. Another cool day, but that was about normal for this time of the year, mid to upper 40s. Now, tonight, I'm assuming forecasting quite a bit of clearing. We get the clearing, we'll see areas of fog. Same time, with a pretty cool air mass overhead, we get clearing, temperatures will drop. So frost in some of the outlying areas on the west side of town, also up in Clark County, maybe a spot or two on the east side, we'll see. But in those areas, we could see maybe frost or spots of ice on the roadways. We'll see how that turns out. If we get too much cloud cover, it won't clear out too well. But we're hoping for some clearing because we got the meteor shower. It's in progress right now, and it'll be the best view of this Geminid meteor shower will be later tonight. It's once a year when we go through this dusty cloud. Basically, it's just sitting there in space, and the Earth, of course, is moving in an orbit around the sun. So we run through this cloud, kind of like when you run through a cloud of bugs in the summertime and the windshield gets splattered. Well, we get the little specks of dust that move into the Earth's atmosphere. They suddenly burn up, and they look like what we call shooting stars. So maybe up to 100 per hour. What's that? More than 1 per minute coming up later tonight. Best is 1 to 3 a.m. You want to get away from the city lights. And I think areas like in the Cascades, you should have a great show tonight because you can see things kind of dying out on radar right now. Still showers across the north side of the metro area over the last 2 hours. And you can see the movement here. Yeah, also it's raining pretty heavily right over the airport. So those showers will eventually die off this evening. It will be cooler. 41 in Salem right now. We've got frozen passes up there in the Cascades. East side, lots of 20s and 30s tonight. But in general, weather is improving tonight, except we will see a lot of dense fog. Now, tomorrow, this system is going to be approaching here. But the deal is it's going to take all the way until tomorrow night to get here. And it also appears to be stretching, splitting apart, and that's slowing it down. So our rain and snow forecast shows a lot of low clouds tomorrow morning. Low clouds and fog in December generally don't tend to disappear too quickly in the afternoon, not like summertime where they burn off. So tomorrow, a lot of gray west side, a lot of sunshine up in the mountains. Then clouds start showing up later in the day, and this rain eventually moves in tomorrow night. It won't be a lot of rain, but you can see then a whole bunch more rain coming up Saturday. Saturday appears to be a very wet day, but only about 1/10 of an inch of rain here in Portland out of tomorrow night's system. So not a whole lot to talk about the next 2 days, just a lot of gray and fog tomorrow. But at the coast, morning sun, then afternoon clouds, temps in the upper 40s. And here in the valley is the grayest area tomorrow. Salem, I think there's a good chance you'll be in the fog and clouds all day. 45 up at Longview with maybe a little bit of midday sunshine. Sunny morning up on Mount Hood, clouds in the afternoon, upper 20s. Columbia River Gorge, partly cloudy, fog at the east end. Should be some sunshine at the west end, briefly at least, and then mostly sunny east of the Cascades, except at the lower elevations like the Dalles and also Hood River. Here in the metro area, a cool day tomorrow. A lot of clouds. I think it might break up a little bit late in the day, but your 7-day forecast, I showed you that second surge of rain later Saturday and early Sunday, and then a third here Sunday night and Monday. Behind this one, snow levels will be pretty low, maybe down around 1,500 to 1,000 feet for the first time this season. I don't see any chance for snow here at the lowest elevations, and maybe next week we might dry things out from Tuesday afternoon onwards. Wayne and Shauna.
All right, thank you, Mark. Well, the business of instant video is getting a bit more crowded tonight. Redbox is about to debut its highly anticipated streaming service. It's a joint venture with Verizon. For $8 a month, subscribers will have access to unlimited streaming video, plus 4 one-night credits per month for DVD rentals at Redbox kiosks. That's about the same price as Netflix's streaming-only service. Streaming only from Redbox is $6 a month.
Facebook rolled out new privacy controls today. The new tools will make it easier for you to pick which of your friends can view your personal info, status updates, and photos. Another change, apps must separately ask for permission to tap into your personal information and post status updates for you. Both actions were previously handled with a single request. The search feature is also changing as well. You no longer have the option to hide from other users who are looking for your name.
A tiny dog is in need of a new home after someone abandoned him at the Oregon Humane Society. Shelter workers say they found Eros in a crate outside last week with a note that read, "He's a good boy." Look at that little face. Surveillance cameras helped OHS track down the dog's owners. And although abandoning an animal is a crime, OHS has decided not to press charges. Along with Eros, lots of other shelter dogs are in need of loving homes. It costs $50 to adopt one this month as part of a special discount promotion. Well, the zoo's baby elephant Lily is about to make her public debut. The Oregon Zoo says the 11-day-old Asian elephant and her mom will be in the indoor viewing area for the first time this Friday. She is just the cutest thing. Look at her walking there. You'll be able to see Rose 2 and Lily from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, although those hours are subject to change. Lily is already getting a reputation for having a lot of personality. If you plan to visit Rose 2 and Lily this Friday, you're encouraged to bring gifts for human babies in need this weekend. Formula, diapers, and books will be collected for the Children's Relief Nursery.
All right, coming up later tonight, searching for a motive.
We will continue our team coverage of the deadly shooting at Clackamas Town Center. We are tracking down those who knew the gunman and talking to experts about what could possibly cause someone to do this.
Well, before we go tonight, here's a quick recap of what we know about the shooting so far.
The gunman has been identified as 22-year-old Jacob Roberts of Southeast Portland. He used an AR-15 and fired into the food court of the mall, killing Cindy Ewell and Steve Forsyth. One teenager, Christina Shevchenko, is seriously hurt and still in the hospital. In between newscasts, you can check KPTV.com for the very latest updates. You can find a social media timeline of witness information, a slideshow of photos from the scene, raw viewer video from inside the mall in the aftermath of the shooting, and full statements from the victims' families.
And stay with KPTV for continuing coverage. We'll have new information once again at 8 o'clock on our sister station PDX TV, as well as the 10 o'clock news on KPTV.
And that's going to do it for us tonight. We have more news tonight at 8, 10, and 11. We hope to see you then.